If you're looking for a great last-minute gift or a quick baby shower present, these Starting Points Baby Booties are a really great option. Not only do they look adorable and really impressive, but they're also really fast and easy to make. All you need is a cuff that you are going to sew on to the mesh tape that lines the inside of the baby booties here. Now the booties, they do come with both the knit and crochet instructions to create your cuff. Here I've made my knitted cuff, and there's going to be a couple tips here to make the sewing process a little bit easier. First, you want to bind off your stitches a little bit looser. That way you're able to stretch your bottom part of the tube around the entire circumference of the inside of the baby booty here. So if it's a little bit looser, it's going to make it a little bit easier for you as you're sewing it along the mesh tape here. Also, you want to just mark the halfway point of your stitches. So you want to split them in half and then mark it with a locking stitch marker. That way you can easily tell that you're spacing out your tube along the mesh tape here evenly. So if I start in the front here, like so, if I have the back part, the halfway point of my cuff marked here, I know that I should be working and sewing this along, and when I get close to this stitch here, I should be reaching the back edge of the little baby booty. And that's just going to prevent you from puckering up too many stitches here and then having to stretch them really far on the opposite side to get it to sew on correctly. So leaving a looser bind off edge and then just marking the halfway point of your stitches, those are two things that will make sewing on the knitted cuff or crochet cuff a little bit easier. So let's get started. I'm just going to leave a tail and thread the end through a sewing needle. Now normally I prefer to use the bend tip needles, but for something like this where you have to get through the mesh tape of the baby booty, a straight one with a little bit sharper point is going to make working your seam a little bit easier. So I'm just going to begin by going through. You want to go through the bottom edge, so closer to the inside. That's just going to help hide the little mesh tape a little bit more if you sew on your cuff closer to the edge. So I'm going to go through here, and then I'm going to find the next part of my bind off stitches. Just go through there. Pull it down. Then I'm going to leave a little bit of a space and just go through the bottom edge of that mesh tape one more time. There we go. Then I'm going to find the next bind off stitch. So essentially I'm just going to be working around, going through each of these little stitches from my bind off edge as I work my way around the mesh tape. I'm just going to go through, leaving a little bit of a space, go through the bottom part of the mesh tape, and then every couple of stitches I'm just going to pull it tight. And I'm going to go through my next stitch here, pull it through. So this process is going to go really fast. This is definitely going to be a project that you can pick up, start, and finish in an afternoon. And that's why it makes a really great just a quick last minute gift. It's fast, it doesn't take a lot of yarn at all. You simply use some worsted weight yarn, knit up your tube, and then seam it on. And you can even embellish it a little bit by adding maybe like a knitted tie or crocheted tie around it, embellish it with buttons. This is just the most basic version of what you can do with these little cuffs. And for a little interest, I'm using Chroma here, the color transitioning yarn you can see on my other booty. To get them to match, I just found the beginning of that same repeat to make knitted cuffs that match. So you can do that, or you can just make them all one color, make them a little bit mismatching, create different stripes. So there's lots of different options that you can do for these here. And they are really, really a fast project. Again, you just keep pulling it tight as you go. So here you can see why marking your halfway point is important. It will kind of give you a sense of how closely you should be spacing your seams together here as you're working your way around. If my halfway point were right here and I was knitting my stitches too closely together, I'd probably want to start over and space them out a little bit more evenly. And that way you can kind of keep track that you are working around your edge in an even way. So I'm just going to keep working all the way around. So you can see that I've worked my way around the entire edge of the baby booty, seaming down my cuff on either side, including the little front section here. You can see all my little stitching that I've done, and this is why it's important to get your stitching as close to the bottom edge of that mesh tape inside your baby booty as possible. That way when you're done, the little cuff of the baby booty stands up to hide any of your seaming. And all you do in the end is you would thread your yarn to the wrong side or the inside, and then you would weave in your ends just as you normally would. For now, I'll just thread mine through, tuck it to the inside. You can kind of get an idea of what they look like together, but here you have a set of the Starting Points Baby Booties. Again, they don't take a lot of yarn, and they're just made using worsted weight yarn, so they're very fast and easy. And those are the Starting Points Baby Booties.